I'm gonna go and set up this recording real quick. Okay. Just for the record, just so it's stated, this is 125. Senior Officer Flop Dugong, followed by Cletus Cornwood, Xavier, I always forget your last name.
Monroe.
Mr. Monroe, as well as Judge Murphy Braun, and 107 Senior Officer Barrick Johnson will be joining us in just a minute. Miss Abilene, I'd like to remind you that you were still under Miranda. The date is currently 2/28, roughly 3 a.m. EST local time, 17:05. Miss Abilene, you were in the middle of giving your statement. I know we kind of got cut off, and I do apologize. If you would like to backtrack at all, feel free, as you're not being forced to kind of pick up where you were. I know there were a lot of questions that we tried to throw in before the weather came through. So if you have any questions or anything up to this point, feel free to ask. But overall, we're just sort of looking for your statement right now.
Yeah, okay. So where I left off was you guys were trying to pinpoint where I recall recollecting the other assailant falling out of the back of the pickup, which I only noticed because the driver got on the radio and said, pick up that guy who just fell out.
Okay. All right. So after that, what happened?
All right. Then we continue up that road or highway. I'm being quiet because initially I was like asking why they're doing this. Maybe they have the wrong person, etc. And they told us to shut up. And if we don't shut up, they're gonna kill us. Bobby Charles kept talking. They pulled off to the side towards the ocean where there was sand and a little bit of grass, like a crevice in the beach, sort of. The driver, I think I went, did I go through this part? The driver, the assailant driver, masked up, told Bobby Charles to get out. The driver got out with a knife. The driver had a knife the whole time. Even when he was driving, he had the knife in his hand. Charles got out, put his hand up. The driver said, you talk too much, stabbed him in the gut. Stayed there for like a minute as he radioed things. Put Charles back into the back seat where he was originally, but Mr. Charles was incapacitated at that point. He pulls back to the road, continues driving north. Then we get to a location where it's like the rocket ship diner area. And they pull over there. And that's where another assailant joined. I'm not sure if it's the first person who ran into the courthouse or a different person, but the person who ran into the courthouse had a mask on. This person that came had this huge black beard that like covered a lot of his face and this scruffy, like chin length black hair. And they both spoke in like a country kind of accent. Okay. They pulled Bobby Charles out, lay him on the ground on the sand, somewhat close to the water, I guess we were. I was really just panicking in fear that they were going to stab me next. It's hard to recall the exact location, but then they told the other gentleman to get out, you know, while they're stopped there. They just stabbed him right in the gut and then left him there and left the both of them there. The new assailant who joined got in the back seat behind me, and he was brandishing a weapon. I believe it was a knife or a wrench. I'm not sure. I was looking forward a lot of the time.
I don't want to cut you off. I'm sorry. So, where were these two people left again? How far after and how long after you were at the rocket ship place that you were saying?
That's where they got left, like on the dirt sands behind the rocket ship diner.
And do you know who either of those people were?
Who got left on the sand?
Yes.
Well, one of them was Bobby Charles, as I said.
No,
And
yeah,
the other,
the other one was more who I was referring to. I'm sorry.
I don't know. He had a scruffy beard, black hair, olive complexion, wearing dark clothing. Maybe like even a dark plaid shirt, dark jeans and boots, kind of like a
Sounds like flop off
industrial
duty.
working man or something like that. Maybe sanitation, but no vest or anything like that.
Okay. All right. So Bobby Charles and this person gets left at that restaurant with the rocket ship. And then where did you go from there?
I remained, so they didn't tell me to get out at that point right there. So I remained in the passenger seat with my hands up as instructed. Then they went for just a drive straight north, looping back and forth. And then possibly up through Polito and then back down south again, if that's where the gas station I got dropped off at. But they had mentioned to each other that they spotted a cop that was in their vicinity, and I think they were trying to lose the cop, or the cop really didn't notice them. But he said, the guy in the back said, you're good, they don't see you anymore. So for at least 15, 20 seconds, they believed an officer was in pursuit of their vehicle. Being the gray Ford pickup. And this is over by Polito, and then I think curving back down again. And that's when
Quick
they're
question.
talking about feeding me. Yeah.
So they claim that a cop was possibly chasing them?
Yes, correct. And this was over by Polito and maybe back down towards the west, looping back down in that area. Like over that long, like maybe over that long bridge kind of area, or just before there.
Okay. Was it so they spotted the cop while they were on the road?
Yeah, I was in the passenger seat with my hands up. Assailant with the beard was in the back behind me with a weapon. Same driver. And then they were doing these maneuvers, like pulling out onto the dirt, like into the side on the sand, and then looping back on like a different road.
Oh no.
Essentially, I think trying to lose what they thought was an officer in pursuit, or they weren't sure and they were just being careful, something like that.
Okay.
And then the man in the back said, you're good. Nobody sees you anymore, or something to that effect. Or you lost them, they don't see you anymore. You're good. And then from there, it was to the gas station. On the way, they asked me, do I hunt? I said, no. Like, you ever shot anyone before? I said, no. They said, you ever think about shooting someone before? I said, yeah, sure. They said, well, what do you want to shoot? And I was like, I don't want to shoot anything. And they're like, or what would you shoot? I said, oh, I'd shoot a target. Like, like a training target.
Sure.
And they were like, oh, okay, I'll get you a target. And then that's when they took me to the gas station and told me to get out, told me to put my hands the fuck up, don't move, don't do anything. Right, after they lost this police vehicle, at least to my understanding, they stopped behind a sand dune or like a dirt dune, and their truck was smoking. In fact, their truck was smoking almost because the driver crashed into a divider in the highway, and the truck began smoking. So it was smoking the whole time with the Bobby Charles stabbing and all that. And then finally, they got around to stopping. And the man in the back, the driver asked him if he had a repair kit. He said, repair this really quick. They fixed whatever was causing the fumes from the engine. That took about, 30 seconds. And from that point, they went directly to the gas station. They then told me to get out, put my hands up. And he started basically feeling me up, and I felt a metal object get slipped into my waistband of my skirt. And he told me, okay, I just put a gun on you. Pull it out and shoot that cliff face. And because there's like this cliff face across from the gas station. I said, They said, do it fucking now or we'll kill you. And he's holding a knife to my neck. So I pulled out the gun and I shot one shot at the cliff face.
Son
And then
of a
I believe
bitch.
maybe I attempted to shoot another shot at the cliff face. And that's when I got stabbed and started to lose vision and didn't regain, like, can't really recall anything until EMS was above me again when we were at the gas station.
Okay. Do you not that this matters necessarily to your case, I'm just curious though. Do you happen to recall at any point talking with me on scene?
I remember crying and wanting to talk to an officer.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. I'm not pressing you about that. I just wanted to make sure. I couldn't tell if you were conscious at all on scene or not. That's what I told EMS. I want to just clarify that.
I wanted to tell you guys about the other two gentlemen, but then I was in and out of it.
Okay.
The ones that got stabbed.
Okay. That's fine. Do you remember which cliffside you shot at?
All right, so I guess where I was found, the gas station was behind me, and there was a road before the cliff face, and this cliff face is probably 35 feet tall, and I don't know, 75 feet wide, 50 feet wide. It was just this like solid rock face.
No, you're fine. I'm trying to get an understanding as to where we would be able to possibly recover the projectile. Did you shoot? So from where you were, did you shoot past the gas pumps or did you shoot the other way? Because there would only be two cliff faces on that side where you were found.
No, I didn't shoot past any pumps. I shot high and directly into the center of the cliff face because I wanted to make sure that if I was going to shoot, I wasn't shooting level with any sort of head or car that might pass by. So I kind of shot high on the cliff to avoid hitting or hurting anyone.
I'll be back.
Mm-hmm. Eric, if you can hear me, I'll be on a channel. Make a channel 4. Sorry.
Ready to check.
And 2.
I'm gonna go just in the off chance that it could.
Give me 1 second.
The
Okay.
projectile there.
I have a couple things I want to ask her, just to have clarified for the recording.
Would
Once you're ready.
Yeah, that's fine. A firm, keep me posted. I think I'm good. I'll ask my questions after.
Okay. Did you you mentioned getting kidnapped? Did you have any reason to believe that you may be getting kidnapped, or you may be at risk, or anything like that prior to the kidnapping occurring?
No, I didn't expect something like that to happen. I mean,
Okay.
I talked about a weird phone call I got with you earlier. Like that was 10 minutes prior to that, where someone called me and they were like crying, but it sounded weird. I'm gonna be honest with you. But I don't just discount people. I was like, okay, what's going on? They were talking about their parents getting divorced, and they were calling me because they needed a lawyer to come talk to her about her parents getting divorced. And that immediately set off a red flag to me because I'm not a lawyer. And in the yellow pages, I most definitely don't advertise myself as a lawyer. So I don't know who would think I'm a lawyer or why they would think that. But that's what I thought was weird. And they tried to get me to come to them. They said, well, can you come to where I'm at and sort this out? I said, I'm in a meeting right now. But you could have your parents call me, or you could have your dad call me, and I'll see what I could sort out. Right?
Did you have a
Okay.
phone
And they were
number
like,
attached to this
"Oh,
call?
yeah, it would be in my phone. It would be like the last phone call I received
Okay.
before
Well,
this happened."
we'll get to that in a minute, but keep going.
And then they
Okay.
said, they tried to get me to come to them. They're like, can you come out? Can you come meet me? And I'm like, first of all, I wasn't with a lawyer at the time, so I can't just go out to someone and give them legal advice, number one. And I said, no, I'm in a meeting. They said, oh, where are you? Having a meeting at the courthouse? And I was like, that's weird. I said, yeah, no, I'm at Senior Buns. I told them I was at Senior Buns.
There's nothing to rate on
But
her.
I didn't think that would lead to a kidnapping. I thought it was just going to be some
'cause it's the
annoying
wrong-
person with some stupid story trying to bother me for something I'm not qualified to do because I'm just a paralegal.
Now, is you being a paralegal, is that your official
Yes.
official title? Yeah.
Yeah. And
Is that where you list
assistant
yourself?
paralegal and assistant to Judge Jackson.
Okay, so you don't ever refer to yourself as a lawyer.
Never.
Okay.
Never ever. That's like a
Nothing we can do with this.
rule. You don't do that unless you're
Right.
a lawyer.
Do you think somebody could possibly misconstrue you as a lawyer, seeing as how you just recently helped prosecute a big court case?
Yes, like you can see how a layperson would construe me to be a lawyer when I'm not.
Okay. Did you said earlier, I don't remember if this was on record or on the recording or not, but you said the kidnappers told you to do a few things, one of which, or said a few things to you, I should say, one of which was that, well, here, what did they say to you? Some certain things that they said to you that really sticks out.
That they feed people to pigs, and and that I've been pissing off a lot of people. Then they asked me, "Oh, who'd you pissed off? You must have pissed off the wrong person. You've been pissing off a lot of people, little missy. You know, we feed people to the pigs. We feed you to the pigs. Shit like that. And just other than that, told me to make sure I'm shutting the fuck up and keep my hands up."
Do you know do you know what pigs might be a term or a nickname for?
Like I said, sir, they kind of sounded like country folk. So at the time, I thought they were literally gonna chop me up and feed me to pigs.
I mean,
Okay.
I'll save you the trouble on that, Cornwood. I think the assumption of speculation as to what that could mean is probably either valid or can at least be assumed.
Yeah, because I think it's pretty fair to say that.
I'm sorry, give me 1 second.
Go ahead.
10-9.
I found it.
Okay, A-firm, document it.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay.
I'm on my way.
Have you ever heard anybody use the pigs and use the word pig or pigs as a reference to anything else?
Yeah, on TV. I mean, and then
We got the casing.
I try not to hang around unsavory types who might use derogatory terms, towards police officers. I want to be a prosecutor myself, so I would have no part with people who.
I'll try and save us the time, Corman. We're not in court. We don't need to. That's stuff for court. We just need to keep it to the incident here on this one.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we're gonna do this in plain speak, I mean, to me, it's clear as shit that they kidnapped her, stabbed everybody, said they're gonna feed her to the pigs, and she pissed off the wrong people because of the court case, and they're feeding her to the pigs by planting that gun on her. I mean, I think this is just a non-starter.
They never mentioned any court case.
Well, they did say you've been pissing off a lot of people. You think a lot
Yeah.
of people weren't in that courtroom when you were prosecuting against Mr. K?
Yeah,
I think it's
there
clear as shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So look, that's all I'd have to say. So it's on the prosecution to choose if they want to press on this.
So there's a couple things. I I do have a couple questions. I want to kind of run through some stuff real quick. The area as to where the other assailant fell out of the truck. Did you have somewhat of a pinpoint on that? Because we are currently in the process of still trying to look.
Okay, so I think he fell out, but the driver may have not noticed right away. And when he noticed is when he got on the radio and said, "Get the guy who fell out." So it might have even happened.
I'm just looking for more of a stretch of road or something so we can try and conduct a further sort of look into, I guess you can say.
Is there landmarks, monuments,
Yeah.
anything that you can reference to?
I would say before Sonora, this happened, like maybe on Los Santos Freeway.
Okay. So, okay. Was it before the prison?
Yes, the man fell out before the prison for sure.
Did he fall out after the casino?
Yes, but maybe even shortly after the casino. So either shortly after the casino, but definitely before the prison.
Okay. I'm going to want to do a very thorough search. Obviously, I'm here to follow due diligence and try and get every little piece that I can. If we can try and find something based on what you're giving us, I'd like to try and find it.
This was an assailant who fell out and then
got back in.
the guy, I guess, got on the radio and had someone else pick up the guy, I can assume, because that's when the other vehicle showed up, when he stabbed the second man and provided the new assailant to get into the back seat.
Okay. So based on that and based on, okay. Let me gather my notes. Give me a second. Okay. All right. I'll get down to more of these specific stuff real quick. So we did find, I want to be clear. You shot at the mountainside. You did not shoot at somebody, right?
No, I did not shoot at anyone or anything other than a cliff face.
Yeah. Okay. There was DNA on scene. And we obviously were able to respond because of a bystander calling it in. Would you be willing to consent to a DNA swab to try and match that DNA?
Yeah, I consent to that.
Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and I do have a DNA swab kit here. I would just have to swab on the side of your cheek and then let the machine do its thing. Okay.
Okay.
Would you be able to stand up for me and just stay near the table? Thank you. Awesome. I'm gonna be not GSR testing. I apologize. I'm gonna be DNA swabbing you, Barrett. Do you mind stepping back? I want to make sure that I don't miss and stab you in the mouth. All right.
Yeah. For the record, I do think it's wild in general to get DNA swab because it can just letting you know, Abilene, it can exonerate you in a case where you might be getting accused of some shit that you didn't do. Now, if you're doing a whole bunch of crime and shit, then it probably ain't good, but it is what it is. I don't think you're going to be doing too much crime if you're trying to be a prosecutor.
Yeah, it's not something I'd ever do unless I had a knife put to my throat.
Yeah. So based on that, thank you for that. That'll help us out. We'll go and obviously run that all through before we kind of come up with our final decision here. Past that, I do want to ask for consent on recording. From what I know, we didn't discuss outside the room about, I guess, bringing this up, but based on, I guess, what you've stated, I am very curious to know the phone that called you. I'd love to get that phone number. Would there be a chance in you consenting to a 24-hour phone record so we can try and recover that phone number?
Yeah, I consent to that as well.
Okay.
I have nothing to hide.
No,
Would that be
that's
phone calls only or text messages as well?
If you would consent to both, that's great. But I'm gonna leave that up to you, Abilene. How much you're willing to consent to. I'm not going to try and strong arm you in something.
Just before you answer, is there anything that could be construed as privilege in your text messages?
You know, I try to text very vague, but right now I'm not sure. And the only personal alarming thing that I know was that phone call. I didn't get any threatening texts or anything like that.
Okay. And just to clarify, that phone call you received would have been the last phone call that you would have received before you threw your phone.
That's correct.
Okay. We'll do the best that we can to try and gather that timeline. We'll keep it at a 24-hour subpoena. Go from there. And my last question, Abilene, is: do you own any property?
I do not.
Okay.
I have a state issued apartment like everyone else. But I don't own that.
I gotcha. You know, I'm gonna ask Corwin. I don't know if you have insight on this or Judge Braun. I don't believe there's much inside of apartments people can place things, if I'm not mistaken.
In the apartments.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, it's I don't like putting things in apartments because it's not really reliable.
Yeah. We can circle
Well,
back to that.
Yeah.
Unless Xavier, you have question on that.
Well, no. I just know that you can have a barrel, you can have your sideboards, all that kind of stuff to store things inside your apartment.
Okay, so there are pieces of furniture that could be.
Yes.
Okay.
Indeed. I had them in my apartment before.
I gotcha. In that case, just to kind of dot I's, cross T's while we have you here, the firearm that was found on your person was a firearm that was found in a series of other firearms that were stolen. The reason I'm bringing this up with you is to kind of give you the rundown as to the reasoning. We're also looking for potential consent to look through your apartment then to make sure that you obviously don't have any of these other guns. If you have nothing to hide, I'll be blunt with you. This is only going to help your case. I'll let Cornwood kind of explain that to you if you'd like. I'm not trying to get you on any high gotchas or,
She also
Yeah,
has one van registered to her.
Yeah, that's a group 6 van. I can't pull that out, I don't believe, unless I clock in the group 6. But yeah, you have consent to search my apartment.
Okay. I do appreciate that.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Okay. In that case, that works out. That's fine. Barrett, do you have any questions that you would like to ask? Any clarifying questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. Miss Abilene, I'm going to be completely honest with you. There are other people we will have to question as well through this. Obviously, we would like to speak to other victims if possible. And I'd like to get all of the information in one place before coming up to a final decision in this. I don't intend on pursuing charges this second. And in order to essentially let you go today, we will have to go check that apartment real quick. And from there, I don't see an issue in cutting you loose right now until we gather more information. You've been very compliant, and I appreciate it. There's really nothing from, I think, our side that we need to hold you for outside of that until we kind of put all the pieces together, review our recording. We'll call you if we have any other questions past this, but I think you've answered most of the questions that we would need. We'll go ahead and start the subpoena so we can get that going and get it taken care of. My only question to you is, do you happen to know your number on hand or have a business card so that we're able to kind of look up that number?
I was previously in the yellow pages, and I have to see if I have a business card. One second.
Anyone curious? We need to question Bobby Charles, and we need to
Oh,
question other
Wait,
people.
we gave. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. It
Yeah,
felt
cool.
like some shit happened.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if this has my number on it or not.
Let me take a look. It doesn't look like it. Does anybody in the room happen to have Abilene's phone number? Maybe.
I probably do.
Oh, I have it.
Would
It is.
Would you be able to just text it to me?
420.
Oops,
Yeah, I
sorry.
got you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, could you text it to me and just read it off for the record so it's on recording?
Yes.
Yeah. You got it, or you want me to get it? Actually, I should get it. It's 420-045-5711.
Okay. That's fine. That works with me. Mr. Braun, while you're in the room and we have it on recording, I'm going to ask, due to the fact that there was verbal consent, I do want to just make sure I'm following the process as it's stated. Are you still expecting or wanting me to submit the paperwork based on the verbal consent, or are you able to approve that?
I mean, consent to search is consent to search.
Mhm.
If she's willing to unlock the door and let you in, you know, and her attorney is comfortable that she's not being coerced in any way and does not object to this consent being given, then I'm comfortable with whatever y'all want to do.
We do need to provide.
If you want to, yeah, if you want to provide any documentation that might be useful or necessary, that would be along the lines of your protocol in these situations, and go for it.
Okay. All right. In that case, then that works. Obviously, the phone subpoena I'll have to submit to the judges with the recording. I would probably imagine, and go from there, which can happen at a later time. Okay. If no one else has any other questions, I'm going to turn the recording off, step out. Xavier and Cornwood, and obviously Barrick. We'll talk real quick, go from there, and try and get this done as quick as possible so we can let you go. Okay.
Yeah, I would like to. I would like to state for the record, seeing as how I will likely be instated back to the police department before the end of this case. If that happens, I will have to check with Chief Justice Crane, but I more than likely will no longer be on this, and I would hand over all my notes and information, everything that was taken, to the next defending attorney. So.
Okay. Any of your personal notes that you have at that point, feel free. Anything that's been discussed here is obviously on recording, and I have no problem providing that for another attorney so that they can be up to date with what we know. We've had no discussions outside of this room in terms of Abilene. The only thing that happened outside of this room was she was Mirandized, where she then was asked about an attorney. So no questioning was happened outside of this room anyway. With that said, I'm gonna shut this recording off real quick. We'll talk out of the room. Abilene, do you need food or water?
I need some food.
It's not a lot, but I do have a bag of chips for you. If anyone has anything else, please. If not, I can run up and grab you something real quick if that's not enough.
Yeah,
Have some water if
Okay.
needed.
All right.
It'll be fine.
I'm gonna go and shut this recording off. We'll step out of